Today is Wednesday, October 2nd, 2013. The time is 1 p.m. The meeting of the Monongalia County Commission is called to order. Everyone please rise for a moment of silent meditation and pledge to the flag. Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Diane.
Today, October 2nd, we have 27 exonerations for $16,916.95. Tax years 2006, 2010, 11, 12, and 13. There's also one letter of correction for the Herald voting. Fiduciary orders. Fiduciary orders as of October 2nd, 2013. We do have two objections to the estate of Grace Stump Chips. These were presented to you earlier.
I don't know if you've had a chance to read it.
No, I haven't had a chance to read it.
But essentially what it boiled down to was the accounting for the estate is there. The only thing that I thought was missing, absent, was the fiduciary's recommendation. She sent us some correspondence, but she didn't make a recommendation how valid these two objections were. But if you look at the objections were more to a communication, lack of communications to the two heirs who were, I would categorize as minor heirs when you looked at the amount that they were given, as opposed to some of the larger awards. But I couldn't detect that there was any improprieties in terms of managing the estate or the settlement of the estate.
Did the fiduciary hear the objections?
The fiduciary was aware of the objections.
Was she just aware, or did she actually hold a hearing?
Here's her closing paragraph.
Thank you.
Certifies upon completion of the foregoing report and before the same was returned to the commission for confirmation, she gave notice to the parties interested or their attorneys as required by law, and she has held said report in her office for more than 10 days after the completion of said report for inspection and exceptions, and no exceptions had been taken or found. So the only thing I can conclude from that is that they filed it after the time period. There's September 25th is dated on the exceptions. In fact, they're both dated September the 25th. Of course, what the two exceptions are, their goal is to have the estate remain open. But I would think it would be appropriate to refer this back to the fiduciary commissioner and ask for a recommendation.
That's what was going to be
and
my suggestion.
rationale for a recommendation.
That was going to be my suggestion. I mean, if they filed objections to it, we only have one of two options. Either if she never had a formal hearing on the objections and made some findings on it, or gave us some recommendation like you suggested, then due process rights would require us to hold a hearing. Why should we hold a hearing if they're so minor? We should just give it back to her and let her figure it out.
Yeah, I think it'd be appropriate. I can make a motion to that effect that we refer this matter back to the fiduciary commissioner and ask her to review the situation and make a recommendation as to with the rationale.
Yeah, address those specific objections.
Yeah.
I'll second that motion. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Now we need a motion on the rest of it, do we?
In that case, I'll give you these. This is the fiduciary orders that you can sign. It says it was not approved. We have minutes of August 7 and August 14, and also there's a note of a correction on the July 17 minutes where Tim Stranko and Ryan Simonton, specifically Tim Stranko, had been Steptoe and Johnson. He changed law firms, so in the minutes regarding Westover, he was changed to K. Castor and Cheney.
So it just corrected the law
Yes,
firm, that's all.
yes.
That's fine.
Purchase orders and pay vouchers, general county fund, $399,399.40. General county fund purchasing card, $899.22. Coal severance fund, $51,975.81. 911 cash and key card, $12,285.33. Mason-Dixon Park, $488.16. Camp Moffley, $2,156.43. Assessor's valuation fund, $61,750. Morgantown Industrial TIF, $29,137.92, for a total of $558,092.27. And budget revisions I have from the circuit clerk, moving $2,000 for payment of computer maintenance and parts. I have a letter from the sheriff. He's received a check for $1,840.82 for reimbursement of drug court participant supervision by home confinement. He's asking that 705 budget be increased for salaries, FICA, and Medicare. And the prosecuting attorney has received a check from RDVIC for $4,817.50 to be included in her personal services line items, and also 2 checks from the West Virginia State Police in the amount of $792.20, and it is 10% of their portion of forfeiture funds, and that's also to be placed in personal services line item.
Move for approval.
A motion and a second, or I second the motion. I second the motion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you, Diane. Renata?
Have a blue pen.
Trustee Blue. Keep it right here.
I have a contract agreement between the West Virginia Department of Transportation, Motor Vehicles, and the County Commission for the DUI grant for fiscal year 2014, commencing October the 1st, which was yesterday. That'll run through September 30th of next year.
Move for approval.
I'll second the motion. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
We have some grant reimbursements. The Emergency Solutions Grant Program for July of 2013, $4,584.40. For August 2013, $5,687.94. The DUI grant, this will be a supplement to the August reimbursement that we ran through 2 weeks ago for $1,184.09. JABG grant for MAYSP for August 2013, $891.43.
Move for approval.
I'll second the motion. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you, Renata. Okay. Proclamation National Domestic Violence Awareness March. Please come forward. Nice seeing you again.
Hi. I'm Brenda Joseph from RDVIC, and I've never done this before.
That's all right. You just read us the proclamation. You can make any comments you want to make, and then we'll act on it.
Okay. Proclamation. Whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy and dignity, security and humanity, due to systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and/or abuse, including abuse to children and the elderly. And whereas the problems of domestic violence are not confined to any group or groups of people, but cut across all economic, racial, and societal barriers. and are supported by societal indifferences. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting individuals and society as a whole, here in this community, throughout the United States and the world, and whereas it is battered women themselves who have been in the forefront of efforts to bring peace and equality to the home, now therefore, in recognition of the important work done by the Rape and Domestic Violence Information Center serving Monongalia, Preston, and Taylor counties, as well as all other domestic violence programs, the Monongalia County Commission does hereby proclaim the month of October to be National Domestic Violence Awareness Month and urges all citizens to actively participate in the scheduled activities and programs to work toward improving victim safety and holding perpetrators of domestic abuse accountable for their actions against individual victims and our society as a whole.
You want to add anything? Nope.
Move for approval.
I'll second that motion. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. You all do good work. We really appreciate it. I know I've got to meet so many of the volunteers over the years, being a magistrate and an attorney, and I always appreciated your presence.
Thank you.
Okay, so-
Okay. Thank you very much.
You know, I'll share one thing with you. About 10 years ago, I did a study on the cases going through magistrate court. And domestic violence was second only to bad checks in Monongalia County, based upon all the hearings that, and arrests that were made in Monongalia County. So it really, domestic violence doesn't sometimes get the visibility it should get, because it disrupts so many families and homes and subjects so many people to things that they should never be subjected to. But I too, along with Eldon, commend you people for the work that you do. It's a much needed area, and it's one that maybe as a community we need to do a little bit more to prevent it instead of reacting to it.
We're working on prevention and awareness, and that's part of what this month is all about, to try to get the community active in recognizing the signs, the early signs, and how to walk away from that kind of relationship, how to help people to stop behaving in ways that are abusive to others and perpetuating this kind of violence in our society.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Proclamation Disability Employment Awareness Month. I see you, Bob.
It's good. It's good to be here. Well, first, before I read the proclamation, I want to thank the commission for what you do for citizens with disabilities in this county. You know, sometimes we don't recognize the contribution of what happens in Monongalia County with PACE, with Miracle Field, with Stepping Stones. This is a great place to raise a family member with a disability, and there are a lot of counties that have a lot more population that look to us, and the commission has always provided leadership with that. With our jobs for workers with disabilities, you know, I mean, one of the things that we do is we want to put people with disabilities to work, and a job is a lot more than a paycheck. You know, a job is learning new things, it's meeting new friends, it's finding independence, and it's making the county a better place to live. And those are the things we do. You know, and those are all nice things to say, but it's where the rubber hits the road. And I want to brag about one thing we've done, and that's our shredding operation. My boss is in Florida. We're buying our 5th truck for our shredding operation. We've put 37 local people with disabilities to work. These are people that most people would consider to be unemployable. We've put them to work, and we've competed successfully on quality, service, and price with companies like Cintas, Iron Mountain, and Shred It. We're taking business away from them at a competitive level, and these are workers with disabilities that live right down the street from us. So this is something to be proud of. So the proclamation: whereas PACE Enterprises provides people with disabilities with evaluation, training, and jobs necessary to receive good wages and benefits and gain greater independence and quality of life, and whereas West Virginia leads the nation in the highest unemployment rate of people with disabilities, and whereas through the Source America program, community-based nonprofit organizations such as PACE Enterprises provide employment opportunities to people with disabilities while providing a wide array of quality goods and services at a fair price. And whereas in Monongalia County, West Virginia, Pace Enterprises for 41 years has provided employment opportunities for people with disabilities, enabling them to lead more productive and independent lives. And whereas in calendar year 2012, Pace Enterprises provided job placement for 213 people with disabilities. And whereas Monongalia County, West Virginia recognizes the important contributions of Pace Enterprises to its citizens, now therefore, we, the Monongalia County Commission, on behalf of Monongalia County, does hereby proclaim October 2013 as Disability Employment Awareness Month, and hereby commends all persons who are committed to and work toward enhancing employment opportunities for people with disabilities.
Move for approval.
I'll second it. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
We appreciate what you all are doing.
It takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of
It does,
people,
it
and
does.
It shows you what happens when we pull together as a community, and nobody really cares about who gets the credit. We just make things happen, and this is a good example of how we all work together.
Yeah, and it's especially admirable. I heard something, and I don't know if the numbers are exactly right, but there's something like 50% of working age people in the state are not looking for a job.
Correct.
And that's just unbelievable. I mean, because I know what you were talking about. A job is not just the money you receive. It's esteem, it's self-pride, self-awareness, an opportunity to be part of the community and contribute. And when you consider these people with disabilities, and you've given them an opportunity to actually obtain those goals, where other companies may not give them an opportunity because of their disability, that's extremely admirable.
Well, it's all about dignity, and one of the things that we pride ourselves on is that everybody that comes to Pace gets a paycheck. I mean, we've got one guy that, because of his disability, all he gets every 2 weeks is $11, but every other Friday he gets a check for $11, and by golly, that's his $11. And there's something to be said.
And he earned it.
Yeah.
And he earned it.
Yeah.
That's right. That's great. Thank you very much, Bob. Proclamation, National 4-H Week in Monongalia County. Becca, how are you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you all too. Thank you for having us. I'd like to introduce Mary Kearns. She is our 4-H program assistant, works part-time with me and goes out into the schools and does different programs for our youth.
Right.
And then also Alex Rubenstein. He is a 4-H member, and I invited him today to talk about his 4-H experience. So I thought if it was okay, I would start by reading the proclamation.
That's fine.
Okay. Next week is National 4-H Week. We're very excited. So, whereas 4-H youth across the nation are leading efforts to solve problems in their communities and make a difference for their futures, this admirable program, which seeks to provide a learning experience for the whole child, including head, heart, hands, and health, helps young West Virginians to acquire knowledge, develop life skills, and form attitudes to enable them to become self-directed, productive, and contributing members of our society. And whereas 4-H is the largest youth development organization in the nation with 6 million young people, 4-H in West Virginia claims 1 in every 4 youth are involved in a 4-H program, while Monongalia County's 4-H program reached over 9,680 youth last year in the county, and over 100 adult volunteers are dedicating their time to building life skills of our young people. And whereas 4-H is part of the West Virginia University Extension Service, is a program where youth learn through opportunities that provide them hands-on experiences in 4-H's mission mandates of science, engineering, and technology, healthy living, and citizenship. And whereas 4-H has connected youth in their communities with the innovative research and resources from our nation's 106 land-grant universities and colleges for more than 100 years, now therefore, we, the Monongalia County Commission, does hereby proclaim the week of October 6, 2013 through October 12, 2013 as National 4-H Week in Monongalia County. We urge the people of this community to take advantage of the opportunity to become more aware of this special program that enhances our young people's interest in their futures as part of Monongalia County 4-H youth development, and to join us in recognizing the unique partnership between our county and our state university system.
Move for approval.
Second that. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Since you brought a volunteer and everyone here, would you like a picture or something
Sure.
with us?
That'd be great.
You have a camera?
We do. Mary's going to present you with a token of our appreciation. Of course, we
Oh.
appreciate all that you do for the 4-H program in our county and all your support.
Thank
so
you.
we have a little token of that
Thank you.
appreciation for each of you. And
Well, you know, we talked before because I served on that board of
Yes.
the extension service before, and I can't help but mention this since you got a young 4-H'er there. When I was young, I didn't know what 4-H was. I always thought the 4-H's stood like for heifers, horses, hogs, and and hares. You know?
right, a lot of people think that.
And it's good to emphasize that over. It's not heifers and hogs and horses you're talking about.
And that's a part of it, and that's what our history is. But we, we've evolved, and 4-H is about building life skills in our young people. So at this time, is it okay if Alex talks to you a little bit
Absolutely,
about his 4-H experience?
absolutely, yes, sir. Glad you're here.
Let me trade you places.
Some of what I've written is exactly what you talked about. When people think or hear about 4-H, they immediately consider that everyone in it has to be a farmer, because when they grew up that was what was typical, but in today's age that's not the case. Children from any background can become part of the organization because the activities and opportunities available are universal. The leaders teach children, teens, and young adults about basic skills that they can utilize throughout their life, like leadership, honesty, public speaking, teamwork, loyalty, and so forth. When I first joined 4-H, I didn't understand everything about the organization, but as I begin my 9th year as a member, I can reflect back on how being in such a beneficial organization has impacted my life. I've become part of something that is bigger than my city, my county, and my state. I'm a member of a national organization, an organization that is helping children to develop some of the most helpful and powerful tools they will use in their lives. Besides teaching skills, 4-H encourages kids to explore different ideas or hobbies each year, ranging from woodworking to sewing, acting, and first aid. And during our summer camps, we choose what type of classes we want to participate in. Hip-hop yoga, cake decorating, archery, first cross-stitching. These topics reinforce the fact that 4-H is not designed only for agriculture and raising an animal. This program has also allowed me to create some of the strongest friendships I will maintain throughout my lifetime. I've met so many amazing people through 4-H and that I otherwise would not have known, and I can truthfully say that I am blessed to have met each and every one of them. I know my 4-H friends will be there for me no matter what, no matter when. We all have different backgrounds and we all have different tastes, but I also know that we all care more for others than we do for ourselves. We're not just a group of friends, we're a family of caring and compassionate people who want to give back to the community that has helped us achieve who we are today. We know that with your help, we will have a far greater impact in Monongalia County, and we thank you for that support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to, since the primary, were you one of the leaders on the 4-H, or you're one of the 4-H members? Why don't you all three come up here so you can have a picture, and we can forward it to you. And you can. It's always like to have a picture with young people. It makes me feel good.
Go behind him. Do you want us to send it to, or just
Yeah.
Alex? or-
No.
Okay.
All three of you. Yeah.
I don't give 4-H a bad name.
He was a member of Mingo.
Yeah, I was a Mingo too, so.
Well, you might want to stand over here in the middle. So I don't know if a Mingo might be afraid of a Cherokee
Which
up
it
close.
is that she and I don't have to worry about rain, hail, or lightning or something.
That's right. Well, maybe.
How does that look, Renata?
That looks great. Okay. Thank you very much, and I was hoping that you would consider flying our 4-H flag next week in the courthouse square. I brought it. It's
I don't know if we get
Mr.
room.
Doyle. Me.
Hey, do we have to have a motion on that?
Okay.
Take care of it.
Bobby?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the last thing I think that I need to mention, Alex talked a lot about our 4-H family, and we all grow to care about one another. And we lost a member of our 4-H family on Monday night. Sydney Rush was in a car
Yeah, I saw
accident,
Oh,
and
yeah, that was so sad.
she was
That
a big
so
time
sad.
4-H member and one of our campers. She was to be chief next year, so it's going to be a difficult time at camp. It's a difficult time for our members. So if you'll keep them in your thoughts and keep all of our youth. We got together last night and it was a difficult time, but needed, and so just keep that family in your thoughts. And
Yeah, well, I'll keep him in my prayers.
so thank you very much. Thank you so much for everything.
Look, she affected so many groups from what I read in the paper, and was very active. It must be awful tough. I just hope that all the services are getting out there that needs to.
I hope so too. And she was just wonderful. I mean, just a wonderful young lady. So it's a tough loss for us, and it'll be hard. So thank you again for all your support as always, and please share that with Commissioner Bloom. And if you need anything, just give us a call. So
Okay.
thank
Well,
you.
likewise,
Thank you.
you know you can always come back.
Thank you very much. Thank you. See ya.
Okay. Response from Phil Megro regarding zoning question on the ballot. I guess the question the only question I really had was, because I don't necessarily agree that this is a question that I want answered. The question I want to know was, are we allowed to put on an item, not as a decision-making, but as a sort of a poll or a sense of the community type thing? And the way he wrote it, I didn't know whether he understood that. You understand what I'm saying?
I share with your desire to still get an answer to our question. He talked in his response. It's more about how it would appear on the ballot to pass zoning or not zoning. And of course, he mentioned that somehow you have to exclude all the municipalities in West Run.
Yeah, we understood that. We knew
But
that.
I did call Carrie Blaney because she's our election guru in Monongalia County, and I asked her, what's the prerequisites for us to get something on the ballot? And we just had a discussion, and I asked her if she had a chance, and she said that she would maybe call the Secretary of State's office and see if we can get an opinion. But through discussion with her, I sort of agreed with her speculation that, unless the code provides for it, we can't do it. And that's sort of in line with us as a body, as a county commission. And she seemed to feel at the time I talked to her that the code made mention of, when it comes to elections, that they can't be used as opinion poll taking.
Oh, there is something in the statute that says
But she wasn't absolutely positive where that was at. But she's going to check into that. But all indications, at least the initial indications, were that the normal procedure is to put something on the ballot as a petition by the voters, and then when that's accomplished, then the commission can vote to put it on the ballot.
Yeah.
Of course, I had a prior conversation with one of our state senators about not the zoning, but the 5 commissioner issues, and it's, of course, we talked about that also going on the ballot as a poll. And one of the things that he had passed on to me was, of course, the legislature would have to approve that restructuring. However, if he didn't seem at that time to think that there was any prerequisite for us to put that on the ballot to get the feel of the voters. And then he seemed to feel that the legislature would be hard-pressed not to approve it if the voters in the county approved it. So we're not much further than where we were on the issue. Hopefully Carrie Blaney will come through for us and get us some opinion that we can rely on.
Yeah. I can't help but make this comment, having been a defense attorney in the past. Government is very different than individual liberties. Like you said, unless the code specifically tells a government it can do something, it can't do it.
Yeah.
But as a defense attorney, I always argued unless the code specifically prevented my client from doing something, he was allowed to do it. You know?
Yes,
So that's the difference between individuals and not. But it sounds to me like you
Well,
pretty good.
you know, along those same lines, I had a discussion with my brother over the difference between a democracy and a republic, because I've often heard that, you know, the United States of America is a republic, not a democracy, but we refer to it all the time as a democracy. And it was interesting that his opinion, what he gave me is the difference between the two. And he said, a republic, your elected officials tell you what you're going to do. In a democracy, you vote for what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference, and that's
a
why,
simple explanation.
and that's
But it's
why
right.
there is a lot of things in our form of government that's dictated to us, because we really aren't a true democracy.
Mhm.
We're trying to make it that by trying to get a feel for the voters
Right.
and the people and their wants and desires, but obviously the law doesn't always consider that, even though we try to.
That's right. That's right. Okay. We'll wait for further responses on that. Any other correspondence, Diane?
I do have a resolution that Renetta brought to your attention last week. This is for Renetta to be authorized to seek information regarding the Morgantown Industrial Park Project Number 1 TIF so that she can do the reporting that's necessary. And it reads, whereas being that West Banco, Inc. is the trustee of the revenue bonds of the Morgantown Industrial Park Tax Increment Financing District Number 2 for the Monongalia County Commission, and whereas the West Virginia Development Office has requested that the Monongalia County Commission prepare and publish an annual statement that complies with the provisions of West Virginia Code 711B 15C. Now therefore be it resolved that the Monongalia County Commission designates Renetta McClure, Coordinator of Grants and Administration for the Monongalia County Commission, to be its authorized agent to request and receive all information and documentation pertaining to the Morgantown Industrial Park Project Number 1 Tax Increment Financing District account. The foregoing resolution was passed by the Monongalia County Commission the 2nd day of October 2013.
And that will
Drop
give you
that.
everything we need to fill out, make sure the forms and everything are filled out correctly.
Move for approval.
I'll second that. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Did you say aye?
Aye.
Motion passed.
I was just practicing my ventriloquist.
Okay, thank you. Any other correspondence? Unfinished business, board of review schedule. What do we got?
Well,
We got 45 minutes to wait to find out. Is that what you're saying?
no.
48 minutes.
Do you have
No, we can
official
set that
requests for the 2 hearings that we're going to be having?
Me?
Mhm.
No, I haven't received anything.
You know, that's one
Yeah, we
of,
set the date, we gave 4 days, but we're waiting for individual that was contacting them. I know one had an issue with one of the dates that he could make it. Well, 17th was the best day, and I think it was conflict.
Yes, we're looking at the 24th.
one of the things that I just might mention to you, Mark, is that when we got into these reviews and whatnot, and people said, well, we can't make it, the date of their hearing, it's their responsibility to make it.
Yeah, we-
Whatever adjustments they have to make.
The only thing we
They
did
need
was
to
we
make-
submitted 4 dates, which were good. And,
4 dates that was good for your office.
yeah.
And
Oh,
you
for
wanted
your-
us-
okay.
And then you wanted us to select one. That one guy has 154 properties now. He came in originally in February with only a few properties. Now, I'm having a problem with that. But I don't know whether we can deny him from making the argument. It may go to the weight of his evidence that I expect, but.
We never started the process, if you remember correctly. And so we're going to have each one read in, so that's going to take a little time.
Well, we're not going to be able to do that in one day.
That one, I personally don't see how we can do it.
We can't, just based upon past experience. We're lucky if we got through 10 or 12. Well, we did get through 20 some, I think, one day.
Right.
But that was pressing it to the hill, and I think we got out of here at 9 o'clock. But with that amount of properties, as I understand it, October reviews are different than the February in that we don't have a shut-off date like February reviews have, that we have to have it completed by the end of the month. And what I would suggest is that we schedule a certain number for each day and schedule 1 day a week to hear those cases. I don't think that we need to let that consume our whole time, and even your office staff and what you have to do. So that's what I would like to suggest is what's convenient for you all, Mark, is that we look at how we can spread that out. But I think once we make a decision, then we need to contact Andrew Smith of that properties and the other property person and let them know, here's the way it is. And if you can't make those, then you're going to forfeit those hearings on those dates and times. But
I agree.
I just think it's ridiculous to think they're going to sit here for 1 day and hear 154 cases.
Are they in groups where 10 would be resolved at one time? Is it a
I
complex
have
where
no
they're all,
idea. Debbie, do you have anything to add to
you know?
that?
I brought Debbie in because I don't know if
I
it
just
bothered them.
have dates that the assessor's office gave, and I contacted Andrew, and he came back with one of the days that's on the list that the assessor's office has.
Just one out of the 4? Oh, one day. Yeah, 1 day's not enough.
He suggested October 24th, which is on the assessor's list of days they would be available.
The other thing, Mark, I'd like to know if he's made any attempts to resolve it.
Not to my knowledge, because Kevin usually lets us know. Now, that was one of our suggestions, was with the number there, is there anything else being done to do an informal basis to kind of reduce some of these? You know, majority of the ones that came in initially, a lot of those had been resolved with Kevin.
Right.
And, but none of those were presented at that time. You remember?
Well, he withdrew it because he got the idea that he's gonna roll everything back. And,
So, and that's when it went from that to presenting all the other properties.
Well, we're going to have to move fast on it, but I'd like to see us identify at least 4 or 5 days.
Sure.
And it doesn't have to be the same week.
We're good with other days. Those are just ones we were just going down through with the Tuesdays and Thursdays. For one, it always gave us a date for preparing before there was anything else that came up. That's why there's no Mondays listed.
You know, I think we could, now next Wednesday we're not meeting, right?
No, we are meeting next Wednesday, but not the 16th.
Well, I think we could even start, if you all could start, we could start next Wednesday after our meeting and try to hold our work session down to a minimum and delay anything that we would have on a work session. And have it in.
yeah, because I think we need to get this structured in some fashion. I mean, it shouldn't be willy-nilly like Diane was saying. If they're in a particular area, has a particular complex, or even if they're a particular ward of Morgantown or the county or whatever, that we should hear all that in that group and then all this in this group. Somehow to put some sort of controls on it, otherwise, you know, they bring up things like the condition of the roads, utilities, and all these things as factors. And it would be better, instead of having it repeated for each individual property, you can say, okay, here's 5 properties, and this is the road, this is the problem with the road. So maybe we should start with that, but maybe we,
Can you request that Kevin do a second review before, to see if
I
it's
think we
necessary?
request anything, whether it'll
we
happen or not.
request, whether Mark wants to have him waste his time or not, it's probably gonna be a waste of time based on
They
his
had a
presentation.
pretty good work on this, so I'll send a message to him.
Yeah, and I think we need to have him understand that, you know, we're certainly going to afford him all the rights that he has, but it may not be convenient rights to exercise, because we have other factors we've got to consider. and scheduling that we have to do. So we would hope that we can resolve as many of those as we can, so that not only he doesn't get inconvenienced, so that it doesn't put an unusual workload on the commission.
No. Well, yeah, and that's what I was getting at, is like, if you could, because you're the one that starts the presentation, if you could lump them together and then tell them, okay, we're gonna start this Wednesday and we're gonna hear these properties this Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then the next time we meet, we're gonna hear these properties, and they're gonna be lumped together in a logical format for you and for us to understand.
And we'll pull the stuff there and see how we can organize that into
Good.
other areas.
That'll be good. Now, the
Appreciate
other
it.
person, did he have that many?
No.
Okay.
So that would be done in an hour or so.
The other one, yeah, an hour.
Do we have any time frame that we have to notify them? In other words, can we have the other one, can we do the other one next Wednesday?
I think it's a week's notice. I mean, they may want a little bit more than that, but for their discussion, that should.
Get it out of the way.
There may be enough time.
So we could do that one next Wednesday on the 9th at, say, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now, I'm
Give us
not
a
real
little bit
sure
of work.
you'd have to be here for us to do this, Diane. Why couldn't we, on the 16th, schedule some of Smith's
Well, yeah,
property?
Debbie's normally in for the more
Right.
review stuff.
Yeah, we could do it the 16th.
Call him back and Mark, if you check and make sure, give us the go-ahead on it, that we can set the 16th as the first one, set. And whatever you identify is what cases we should hear, we'll hear on the 16th. Say
Are we gonna
1
start at 9
o'clock?
o'clock?
No, let's start at 1.
Start at 1?
Start at 1, see how far we can go.
1 o'clock on the
16th.
16th. So not in the work session next week?
No, we're gonna try to do that other person that just has a couple next Wednesday.
Okay,
So we want to keep that work session very minimal.
okay. And then the following on the 16th at 1 o'clock, you'll
Yeah.
begin.
Yeah,
Or
we'll begin
remember,
with-
Commissioner Bloom won't be here, so it'll be the two
Well,
of
he
you.
can come at
They
2:45.
can come at 2:45.
Okay.
Well, most of the hearings in February, it was just two of us anyway.
So you'll find out how many he will actually have, if any can be resolved, and we'll start with the 16th. Then the other dates were the 22nd, 24th, and 29th. Would
Well,
those be
what I think we'll
tentatively?
do is, let's go ahead and plan, what day is the 22nd?
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Why don't we go ahead and plan the 22nd?
At 1 o'clock?
Yeah, and then if we need any more, we can do it on the 23rd, if we need any more days to wrap it up. That will give us next week, a couple hours next week, a half a day on the 16th, and then a half a day on
22nd.
the 22nd.
The one thing, of course, he's a veteran at this, so, but I think we need to make sure he understands the guidelines in terms of, he has to provide substantial evidence, why, and it's not just verbiage or words. We need some evidence as to why those evaluations should not stand.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to tell him what properties, because he was in front of us for a long time last year. Tell him which these are the properties we're gonna hear about. So, and this is what you need to say about, and that's what you need to talk about, these properties. Not about how terrible taxes are. Everybody knows taxes are terrible.
And one of the things we got into before is people have a lot of opinions, but opinions don't get it. We need evidence.
Right.
We don't want to just hear him say it. We want him to prove it.
Okay, so, Mark, you'll meet with him and talk with him?
You'll take care of that for us, Mark? Thank you. We appreciate that. Okay. And you got those 3 times we set?
I do.
3 o'clock next week for the one person, and then the 16th at 1, and then the 22nd at 1. And then we'll see how far we are along at that point. Okay, authorization document for collateral substitutions.
Last week, when you approved the collateral substitution, I forwarded it to Huntington Bank. They did not have a pledge agreement form on record because it had expired with previous commissioners. So they needed to have a new document executed. This would, if you'd like, check yes. That means that they would substitute on an equal basis without your approval, but anything that needed to be increased or decreased would come before you. And also a three-party callback, which means one person from here would have to verify the action that was taken, and then two from the bank, if that's the way you choose to do it. They'd like the names in order of availability. If you want to put mine first, I'm here in the afternoons afterwards, and then the three of you can sign in case I'm not here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that good?
So it's unlimited substitution?
Further agree that you may accept par for par substitution.
Oh, par for par,
Yes.
okay, all right. All right.
Any others would have to come before you.
Okay, yeah, that's what I want to clarify, just par for par.
Okay. So if you'd make a motion to authorize all four of our names be on the document for authorization.
So moved.
A second, a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. This order for Westover annexation decision, we probably should wait for Tom.
Well, now, what Diane has done is she's communicated with Tom through email, which is a practice. If he had any suggestions for change, and he didn't respond. So actually, we've already approved this, and all we need is signatures, and of course, you were the dissenting vote.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really require your signature.
Right. Mhm.
But I can sign it, and then when Tom comes in, he can sign it. We really don't need a motion.
Okay,
All we just need to do is sign it.
okay. That's fine. Okay, new business, set date for public hearing, map amendment.
This is a request from the Planning Commission. It has gone before the Planning Commission for an R1 to an R4 designation. We're going to advertise October the 10th and the 17th. The hearing to be set for October 30 at 1:30.
And I'll tell you, that's, I attended the planning commission meeting for that hearing, and there was in excess of 30 people. So I'm not sure that this room's gonna hold everyone if the same kind of turnout comes to,
Which one is this one?
Irvin Street.
Back there?
Well, there was some concerns, and, I mean, they had a lot of concerns. But it's consistent with what we hear in terms of overpopulation, the infrastructure's not suited, the increase in traffic, the absence of, or not the absence, but they don't really have, although they're on the verge of the city of Morgantown is not their primary law enforcement, the state police and the sheriff's department. Well, it's just consistent. The problem we have with subdivisions comes after the fact because we don't have any subdivision regulations, which we hope to have in the future.
Okay, so that's the 30th at what time?
1:30.
Okay.
30th. 1:30, okay.
You want to make a motion to that effect?
Yeah, I will move that we hold that public hearing on the 30th of October
At 1:30.
at 1:30.
Second that?
In here. You just bring in one. at a
In the
time.
courthouse. Oh, I
In
thought
our
Bill-
meeting
I
room.
thought Bill was suggesting,
Move to a courtroom.
Yeah, we ought to check and see if the courtroom, because it'll be very awkward with the amount of people if they show up. And I would anticipate, they were pretty adamant about it. Joe was there.
They'll be there.
Yeah, I think we ought to plan for more than this room would hold.
Okay.
so it's all right to say the courthouse or the sheriff's department where,
Yeah, we'll advertise it for
once you
here,
figure out where we can have it.
hopefully one of the courtrooms is available. If not, we'll have to move
Right.
everything down there.
We
The
just
entire
hold,
meeting
hold
or
our
just
meeting and everything.
recess?
Might as well
We-
just
we'd
have
have to-
everything there.
We'd have to move our whole meeting down there, yeah. It would make no sense to come here at 1
Recess.
o'clock
Yeah.
and recess and go down there and then come back here. Doesn't make
If that's okay with the sheriff.
Absolutely fine. Happy to accommodate.
Okay, I'll second that motion. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay, reports from county commissioners. Bill?
I guess the only thing I have to report is, I was approached, in Kroger's, the other night, by a lady, who came very close to begging me not to let the commission close the senior Mongolians, program down. And I said, well, when is this supposed to happen? We got into a little bit of discussion, and she said, well, you know, they've had some problems up there, and she goes up there every day and works. And I committed to her. I'll say that up front, go on record. Look, I will never vote to close the senior Mongolians. Now, I can't say that for moving it, but in terms of closing that program down, I would never vote to close that program. And there's some concern out there, and you know better than I. Rightfully so, there should be some concern out there with the operation of the programs. But I just want to share that with you. That,
It's interesting because we don't have control on whether it exists or not. All we have control on or whether they're performing and using the money we fund them properly or not. That's the issue.
I guess we have control of one of the lifelines. It's a currency sometimes speaks louder than words. But.
Yeah, and they might need to talk to Mylan, because my understanding is Mylan is purchasing another big chunk of that place.
That's what I heard. I heard they purchased the whole mall, but I haven't heard anything official.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors. to
Well, I
that
heard that
effect.
they took all the way down to the concourse and they're still negotiating on the rest of it. So,
Wow.
Comes as no surprise.
yeah, that's just rumors, I don't know. Okay, reports from elected officials. Sheriff, you have anything?
Just one thing, next Wednesday, we plan to present the suspension list for a tax sale at next Wednesday's meeting, just so you know.
Okay. Thank you. I see no other elected officials. Comments from the public? Diane, you have anything?
No.
Bobby? Renetta? Jamie?
Just one
One thing.
Madam Chair, I didn't give him a call. This Sunday, we're having our open house for Holly Wilson and her daughter, Mia, out at Mason-Dixon Historical Park from 2 to 4 p.m. and the public is invited. If you could just mention that maybe, might be part of the minutes.
Okay.
Our student representative.
Oh, I'm sorry, your name slips my mind. I
Dot.
mentioned what- Oh, I know, I was, well, Dot, too, yeah, you're from the governor's office, I'm sorry. Did you have something, a message from us? You didn't give us he didn't send us a red line phone or anything? We appreciate you coming very much. Yes, sir.
Just to state, tonight will be an open SGA meeting. You're all, of course, invited to come, but we'll be reporting a couple things to senior members tonight, last week's previous meeting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, did you like last week's meeting?
we did, actually, and the president personally sends his appreciation for it.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll be
you.
having
And
more.
Afterwards, I want to check with some email addresses because some of those were thrown back to me. So
Sure.
before you leave, let me.
Thank you very much. Motion adjourned.
Move for adjournment.
Second, a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.